Natasha. I am what I like to call an astrological birth chart counselor, as I like to combine the tool of your natal birth chart and counseling to help improve yourself, be more reflective of yourself, as at the end of the day, you are in control of yourself and not anyone else. But we can also use this tool as everyone is going through their own thing as well, and it kind of helps become a little bit more aware. So if you are watching this, you are most likely a Taurus rising, or you know someone who is a Taurus rising and you want to be a little snoopy about what they're about and such. So a Taurus rising, this is a fixed earth sign, and a Taurus is ruled by Venus, just like Libra is also ruled by Venus. So wherever they have, or you have Venus in your chart, that's going to have some kind of indicator or direction as to where you are kind of being pulled towards. You can kind of put it in that way, as Taurus is ruling your first house. So we call the ascendant sign or the rising sign is wherever the first house is sitting. So this is who you are, or who you kind of come off as, like as an archetype when you interact with someone one-on-one. It is the mask that you put on, probably unconsciously, of course, in order for you to kind of feel accepted and not rejected to the people that you encounter one-on-one, or how you come off to people when they first meet you and they don't actually know who you are, because this is just your rising sign. This is not your sun sign or your moon sign, or where the other planets and asteroids are falling in your other zodiac signs and houses, or how those are interacting. So being just in general a Taurus rising, you're going to come off as very nurturing, grounded, stable, pleasurable. You like nice things. You come off very maybe materialistically stable, or you can afford nice things, or you have good style because of that Venus energy. Taurus normally represents the second house of our natal chart in Western astrology. So this is like the area where it rules your personal finances and the personal things that you own, because it's also your self-worth, self-esteem, and usually those two things are kind of related to each other, self-worth and self-esteem, and the things that you own. As you know, kind of, if you feel like you can afford certain things or have nice things, it can be an indicator of how you feel about yourself and how you take care of yourself. If you feel, for example, like, oh, I'm only worth the $5 t-shirt, you know, that might be an indicator of how you see your own value, and that it is kind of maybe temporarily at a low point because just things are happening in your life. And what, in comparison to someone who can afford a $500 cashmere shirt, and it's like a no big deal, they can pay for something like that and doesn't hurt them, and that is giving them some kind of self-worth, self-esteem, as they can do something like that and it makes them feel good, like dressing up super duper fancy, or maybe it looks like a plain $500 shirt. It just makes them feel better or more worthy in a materialistic kind of way, as if they feel better about themselves. This is just an example, an extreme example, but it does happen. You know, so that is kind of Taurian type energy. It is the things that you own. It's your personal finances. It's stability. It rules the bank account and the materialistic things. It's a fixed earth sign, so fixated, and think the earth is very stable and it's the ground, you know, so you can't really mess it up that much, you know, like you can dig holes in the earth, it's still going to be fine. There's plenty of dirt, or you can dig super duper deep and it's not going to kill the earth. It's huge, you know, or water can merge with earth very well, you know, like think sand and water, or mud, it creates mud. Hot lava can pour onto the earth, and it's just gonna, the earth is still gonna tolerate the hot lava or the fire. And then wind, you know, might chip away at earth, like think of Grand Canyon and such things like that. It might slowly chip away, or even water can slowly chip away at the earth, but it's really, really hard to really knock the earth off course. You know, like if you think in a metaphor type way, this is kind of the energy that a Taurus rising sign may present themselves, regardless of what is actually going on in their life. So they can come off as, you know, like they can handle a lot and still be emotionally very stable, even though their home life or their relationships they're totally on fire and they're extremely unhappy. They can still present themselves in a very pleasant, pleasurable way to other people who don't know what's actually going on. Okay, you know, a Taurus or the rising sign, you can also think about, this is how we learned to survive in our childhood upbringing, you know. So whatever was going on, Taurus, you know, like you may have had to present yourself in a way that is just very controlled and stable, because you may unconsciously have taken on this role as you didn't want to become more unstable, because it's going to make the home life worse. It's not going to make it better. Or you realize that things like this is just not going to change very fast or easily, whatever situation you are in. And because I cannot come up with all the different scenarios that you, the viewer, are watching, this can be seen in the future, excuse me, by a lot of people. But whatever is going on, you kind of took on this role that you just have to be very stable and secure, or finances became very important to you. Perhaps there was a lack of that, or it's some kind of concern or something that you fear. So you kind of strive to create stability in your life, because maybe something in your family dynamic or relationships is somehow unstable, and so you're trying to balance that out and present yourself as emotionally stable regardless of what the ups and downs are going on. Or, you know, you need to strive for this kind of materialistic or financial stability. And when I say materialistic, you know, that is a perspective kind of viewpoint, because it's not going to be the same. Like, so I'm not trying to say materialistic as you're just super duper over the top. It doesn't have to be like that. Whatever is materialistic to you now may be more than whatever you grew up with. Like if you grew up with, you know, like getting $1 tip was like a lot to you. You know, now having a $10 tip is, you know, pretty darn good. You know, even though someone else who's on the completely other end will be like, that's still dirt cheap, you know, so everything is relative. So I also like to talk about the other houses. If you do not have a duplication or interception in your chart, so a duplication is when you have one house ruling one zodiac sign ruling 2 of your houses. And so that means you have 2 zodiac signs, because there's always an opposite in the chart. And you have 2 zodiac signs ruling 2 houses in your chart, which most likely you will have 2 interceptions. So you'll also have 2 other zodiac signs being swallowed up by one house, and it's not actually ruling a house of its own. So if you're confused about that, and things like this don't exactly apply to you, you need to check your own personal birth chart, as it's not going to be exact for everyone. So if you're a Taurus rising, most likely you have a fourth house in Leo. So the fourth house represents our childhood upbringing and our family home, sometimes literally our house, or how we would like our home life to kind of look like and be. So if your fourth house was ruled by Leo, you know, the sun rules the fourth house. So wherever your sun is will have some kind of relationship to what your fourth house, like what was going on in your fourth house. But Leo being in the fourth house, you know, I've seen people who kind of have different things going on, because every single zodiac sign has positive and negative to them. So Leo, in its positive side, is a natural born ruler. It's almost like royalty, or came from natural leadership. And they have a really, really big heart. You know, they can give their entire heart away because they really love the family or whoever they're dealing with. They will give like all of their heart away. In the negative side, it can be kind of all eyes need to be on them, or everyone needs to revolve around them in some sort of way. The negative side usually for Leo as well as Aquarius is this kind of pride and ego kind of thing, because Leo represents the sun, or the sun represents Leo, and the sun is super bright. And so there's only one sun, and like all the planets revolve around the sun. So it's just like, well, that's just the way it is, you know. All the planets revolve around me as the sun. So you can even think of royalty, right? Like kings and queens, everyone, the servants, the entertainers, they just revolved around whatever they chose to do or not do, or they're very loving and they think about their people, or they're very arrogant and self-centered and they just want a ton of power and control and they don't really care about the people, you know. So there's different ways that can play out, but that is kind of the energy of the fourth house. Is also self-expression, creativity, joy, fun, everything that's casual, lighthearted, nothing super deep. It's very lighthearted. Fun, play, creativity, how do you express yourself at home, and it's children also. So very play-like, wants to be happy because the sun is bright. It doesn't want to be like a dark blackout shadow of a sun. It wants to be always bright, happy, and shining. It wants to be the star, or like an actor on a stage. People see you, so you want to be seen at home, however that is being played out. Or you want to feel proud about your home and family, or be proud of where you came from, like where your childhood background came from, because if it wasn't for that, then you wouldn't become the person that you are today. So those are some kind of little I don't know, insights of possibly what your fourth house or childhood upbringing or your current home, of what you would want your adult home and family life to kind of look like. Your seventh house, most likely if you're a Taurus rising, would be in Scorpio. So Scorpio is like the deep dark secrets. It's fixed water, you know. So as a Taurus rising, all of your main quadrants or personal houses are most likely in fixed signs. So very stable, maybe not stable, but it doesn't really change very easily. So take that as you will. Scorpio tends to be a lot about power plays, power and dynamics, control, possessiveness, obsession, sex, other people's money, other people's resources, and very, very emotional. So you can be attracted towards or attracted to people who have this kind of Scorpio type energy, regardless if they are a Scorpio or not. They kind of have this archetype of being very possessive, fixated, maybe emotionally unstable at times, as you know, it's the sign of death and rebirth, change and transformation. So going through big waves of ups and downs, but kind of in a slow way, not as fast like a Uranus energy. And then very deeply passionate, maybe very highly sexual, and thinking about how to possibly make more power moves or make more big money moves using other people's resources, or investing, or thinking about inheritances, things like that. So it's kind of, how do you use other people to get what you want? And that doesn't always have to be like negative, you know, because technically everybody does that, you know. How do you use someone else's skill sets in order to make yourself better? Or, you know, like, how do you use a 401k or whatever in order to put more money in there, but then you get more money back, you know? So don't always think that it's like a negative thing, but there is this kind of power play thing going on, or it can be very intense and intrusive. Like in general, Scorpio energy, I find like sometimes, especially Scorpio risings, and it depends on male and female and how they're interacting with you. They kind of try and just insert their way into your space. Like, you don't really get your own free choice. It's kind of whatever they want, they kind of have to get it. Otherwise, they might be emotional about it or feel some type of way. So if you're more submissive, then you're more likely to just give in to whatever this other person's wants and desires is, because they might have fear of losing control. So there's like control issues, and you kind of understand, you get their point or whatever, because you're a stable Taurus and you do like harmony and pleasantness and stability. So you might see their point and kind of give in to that. So that might be a thing for you, but if it's not, then don't take that. And then your 10th house is most likely a Aquarius. And we are entering the 20-year transit of Pluto in Aquarius, unless you're watching this, I don't know what year, 20 years from now as I post this, and it's now Pluto in Pisces. But having Aquarius in your 10th house of career and public image, people or the world kind of see you as this humanitarian archetype, or they want to see you in that light. You're someone who is a fixed air sign to the public. So you communicate and you somehow bring a group of people together, because Aquarius energy is about friends or friendships, networking, and technology. And of course, it's an air sign, so communication is just thrown in there. But it's also kind of a detached air sign, so they're really good at, you know, turning on that off switch when things get a little too much, or kind of almost like a boundary of like, y'all are my friends and that's it, okay, bye. Or like not getting too emotional about it. Aquarius is kind of detached in that way, even though they're also very caring and loving. So Aquarian energy, like in some sort of way, the public or public image is like you are someone who kind of brings groups together, or you are involved in some way in a lot of networking, helping people or helping humanitarian causes, or that's, you know, the type of work that you're involved with. You're trying to help a multitude of people in a kind of equal, somewhat way. So it's not like in a one-on-one relationship dynamic like a Libra kind of archetype. Aquarius is like a little bit of everyone, or like in that Broadway show, book or whatever, Oliver, where all the orphans just get one spoonful of porridge, and little Oscar, I think it was Oscar, right? He asks for more. He wants a second bowl, and the lady says, get at the end of the line, because everyone just gets one. And by the time it's his turn again, there's no more porridge because there was only enough for everyone. So that's the Aquarian kind of energy. A little bit like your second house most likely is ruled by Gemini. Gemini is the air sign. It also likes to learn. It's about short distance travel and grade school type of learning. So your financial house, which is the second house for you, may feel sometimes ungrounded because Gemini is the air sign that's mutable. So it changes a lot. Or your self-esteem may feel like it's changing a lot, or you might be into something, and then once it's kind of served its purpose, you want to be on to the next thing that might make you feel good about yourself, or it might change your financial matters. Your third house most likely is ruled by Cancer, so your close, your siblings, if you have any, or your cousins, your peers that you grew up with, the small community that you're surrounded with, will have this kind of Cancerian nature, nurturing kind of quality to them. So your little small community will feel very like homey, motherly, nurturing, and possibly emotional, or they may have mood swings or come off as emotionally unstable depending on what's going on with them. But you may come off as a Cancer-like person to them, or they present themselves as this kind of overall Cancer-like energy to you. Yeah. Your fifth house, because we already did the fourth, most likely, unless you have that duplication, or sometimes I see a triplication in people's charts, but most likely your fifth house is ruled by Virgo. So fifth house is our casual dating, casual drinking, casual sex, our fun and play, how we present ourselves, or our self-expression, and children. So in this department, you are a Virgo, so you may attract a lot of people in the dating realm who are very OCD, perfectionists. They are more like acts of service. How can I help you? They are in some kind of healthcare of some sort, because Virgo rules the house of health and pets and your day-to-day routine. Someone who is very rule and strict, kind of, you know, or like, this is kind of what we have to do in order to meet our goals. Very detail oriented, kind of nervous, anxious, perfectionist, and OCD type, like, you know. So that's kind of ruling your fifth house of casual dating, or how you approach dating, or who you kind of accept as like who you would kind of date in that realm. It's kind of that kind of Virgo kind of archetype, you know, before you might even think about marriage and things like that. Your sixth house, or your day-to-day routine and health, as we kind of talked about Virgo, is ruled by Libra. So your day-to-day routine will be kind of like harmonious and kind of fair and balanced, you know, in some kind of way, whether that's kind of how you grew up, like, okay, I'm going to do a little bit of homework and I'm going to play a little bit of video games, you know, or, you know, like oh, I'm in a relationship now, so this person, your spouse, is going to do this, and so I'm going to agree to do this, you know. And so it's kind of that harmonious, like you compromise on a day-to-day set of rules and responsibilities. And your health can be kind of Libra. You care about aesthetics. That's kind of a Libra energy. It's ruled by Venus, just like Taurus rising people. You are ruled by Venus. So you kind of, on your day-to-day lifestyle, you care about aesthetics. You want to look good, feel good, kind of be dressed up, kind of pleasant and nice, you know, whatever that definition is to you. So you want to come off as overall pretty attractive, and you kind of care about your health. You will also care about your looks, you know, so you need to make time of the reality of, yeah, I do need to think about my food and diet and workout routine, because I do care about how I look. That affects my self-esteem, especially as a Taurus rising. That represents your self-worth and self-value and what leads who you are, you know. And then that is good for your health. It has this Libra of, you know, like weighing the pros and cons. That's always Libra, very calculative, kind of thinking, how do I fit this in? What do I care about? What do I value? As you know, Taurus is like values and what your values are. And then Libra is that kind of judge or fair and balanced energy in there. Your 8th house, as we already discussed, your 7th, is most likely ruled by Sagittarius. So the 8th house is normally Scorpio energy, or it's the Scorpio house. And so putting Sagittarius in here, Sagittarius is like a free-spirited, mutable fire energy. You have to feel passionate about who you are sleeping with in the bedroom, or who you're sharing your life with, your resources with, and your joint everything with. You feel very passionate about this person. And if you lose that, you might want to kind of fly away, you know, in a way, even though it's a fire sign. So it's also kind of flighty in here, but it's very passionate. You might also want to learn a lot in this sector of investments, other people's money, other people's resources. You're gaining knowledge because Sagittarius is expansive. It's about learning philosophy, religion, this kind of guru kind of personality. It's a world traveler, or, you know, you want to kind of escape to a different land and learn about a different group of people, or how do a foreign group of people invest, you know, like how do they do it, or people who are very different from who you are or where you came from, how did they build wealth? Because maybe you came from a very poor family and you have no idea because your parents didn't know how to do it, you know. So it's also that learning of something that's very foreign to you, if that other part doesn't apply, of you wanting to run away from your spouse that you've been married to for 100 years, okay? It doesn't mean that, you know. So you have to really be kind of creative when you think about all of these energies and what you have chosen in your life, what's actually happening to you, what your values are and belief systems are. And then your 9th house is most likely in Capricorn. So 9th house represents normally Sagittarian energy. And so you may have this belief system that you have to kind of work your way up towards, you know, like maybe you have a belief system that is very negative and pessimistic, and you've had to really work on yourself in order to kind of overcome obstacles, overcome setbacks and pushbacks and delays and repetitive lessons, because Capricorn energy is freaking slow. And we just went through that 15-year cycle of Pluto and Capricorn. So Pluto, depending on when you're watching this, Pluto was transiting your ninth house of belief systems, education, religion, publishing. But for a good chunk of people, I see a lot of this kind of personal belief system thing going on. So in some way, shape, or form, you had to kind of build and create or overcome time and time and time again, slowly, your own belief systems, or what you truly believe, what you find is the truth for religion. If you believe in a religion or spirituality or none at all, or you just believe in science, whatever that is, you had to kind of build up towards that, or whatever mental belief systems you have. If you have things that are just completely not true, and it's all made up in your mind, you had to really work hard to not believe those things, to truly learn who you are, or learn from other people what their perception is of you, as you have a different perception of who you are, but other people see you in a very positive light, and it just somehow doesn't match, and you had to overcome this belief system that was completely false about yourself in order to kind of rise up and have a positive belief system, so it really depends. So that is kind of just the energy of what's going on in that house, is this Capricorn energy. Building, climbing the mountain that is really, really hard, and you always get pushback, setbacks, delays, burdens, blah, blah, blah. Your 11th house is most likely ruled by Pisces. So 11th house is normally Aquarius's house, and it rules your friendships, networking, and technology. How do we connect with other people in the world? And so you might find that you have a lot of friends and networks who have this kind of Pisces type energy. And as I said before, there's always positive and negative to every single sign. So you can have a lot of friends who have this kind of spiritual or very faithful or self-sacrificing type quality to them, or they care a lot, and so, or they're very understanding, as Pisces is the 12th sign in the zodiac, so it's like the wisest sign, as it's gone through all of the 12 zodiac signs. So since they understand so much, they kind of let the person be, or they're very intuitive, and introspective, and so they kind of know, just knowingly, what someone might be going through. And so if it hurts them, they understand that, that person's going through something and it doesn't affect them. In another sense, you can come across a lot of people, networks, or friendships who are kind of manipulative, because Pisces is no boundaries. They have no actual clear-cut boundaries. They might just kind of come in to just take something from you, and it's very blurry and confusing, and they come off as like they actually care, or they're kind of having a victim mentality, like, oh, poor me, I'm going through alcoholism. It's one of the signs of addictions, and Leo can be like this too, other signs as well. But Pisces is like, I want to escape, I want to dissociate and not be here anymore. I'm drowning in my problems, and I just want my life to be perfect, like a dream, and it's not. And so I want to go drink my sadness away, or sleep my sadness away and be depressed, or go off and escape in video games, porn, or whatever. So you can have, either of the two, the very spiritual, self-sacrificing and giving, very easygoing type of person as friendships and networks, or you can have these kind of manipulative, they're trying to get their own needs met because they have a hard time doing that on their own, and so they need a little bit of yours or a little bit of whoever will give them that, you know. So that is kind of what might be going on, or be aware of that if you come across people who are like that. It's just boundaries, you know. Make sure that you have strong boundaries. You need to protect yourself first, otherwise you can't help anyone. And at the end of the day, other people who are going through deep issues, they do need to learn how to kind of help themselves also. You can kind of be there, but make sure you're not giving all of yourself away or all of your stability away, because you come off as this kind of grounded, solid rock that other people can lean on or come to, because Taurus is a very nurturing sign, very loving, nurturing, grounded sign. So you may attract people who are not, you know, and they see you as so strong, and they kind of want some of that or want to learn how to be like that. And, you know, you just have to have strong boundaries of making sure, yeah, you want to help or be there, but you can't give all of yourself away and now you're an empty shell, you know, because you have this third house in Cancer of your close community. So water sign. Your 11th house is in Pisces, friendships, networking, water sign, and your personal relationships, one-on-one, whether that is like a business contract, or relationships that are short-term, or your actual marriage, which traditionally 7th house is more on that kind of marriage level. You attract these kind of water sign energies to you because you come off as so stable. In water and earth, as a Taurus earth sign, you create mud, you know, and so you stick well together, you get each other in a way, you know. So that is my video on Taurus rising people. Whether you are a Taurus rising yourself or you know someone who's a Taurus rising, please leave a comment down below if any of this kind of resonated or helped you in any kind of way to be a little bit more aware of your own situation and how to kind of prevent negative things that you are not ready for or never want to deal with. Just have pleasant boundaries, because everyone is going through something. That doesn't mean that you have to always take the whole thing for you to solve. Yes. And if you would like to purchase a birth chart reading, a personalized birth chart reading, you can go down to the website, which is in my description box below, www.natashascreativewellness.com. You can go look at the scheduling section. Make sure you have your date of birth, of course, time of birth, and the location you were born, city, state, country. I speak English, please. So I cannot translate. That is for you. I have products, journals, yoga mats, things like that, if you are interested in that, because my background is in art. And what else would I say? If you want to check out my fitness channel, it is under my full name, Natasha Greenwood, or fit_Tasha Flex, if you're into fitness and motivation, as sometimes working on your health and fitness in this period of you don't know what the hell is going on helps a lot with mental health, of course your physical health, and learning a little bit of struggle every day is nothing in comparison to what life can throw at you. As when you are working out, you're kind of creating self-inflicted pain, but it's usually in a way that is good or within reason and not actual terrible kind of pain. So you kind of practice grit and resiliency. So check out that channel if you're interested. And see you later. Check out my other videos in my playlist down below. And please, please, please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, bye.